Something is tugging at the outer solar system. Something we had never seen. Something that may be the size of an entire world, hiding in our own solar system. Right now, we cannot see it. We can only guess through gravity. Tiny shifts in motion building up over thousands of years. Like noticing a clock drifting by a fraction of a second. We may never find it. And still, it will change the map of our solar system. Every time we thought we finally understand our solar system, something new emerged from the dark. Uranus appeared in 1781, found by William Herschel. Neptune followed in 1846. Neptune was discovered before anyone actually saw it, because astronomers realized something invisible was tugging on Uranus. It was drifting slightly off course. We found that planet by feeling it before we saw it. Planet 9 may be the same story happening again, except this time, the hidden world could be far larger, darker, and far more difficult to find. Let us be precise about what we actually know. Planet 9 has never been directly observed. There is no photograph, no confirmed detection, no image that astronomers are studying right now. What we found is gravitational evidence. Far beyond Neptune, in a region called the Kuiper belt, thousands of frozen objects drift through silent, near-total darkness. Rocks and ice, left over from the formation of our solar system, orbiting at distances where Earth, Mars, and Jupiter feel like a small neighborhood. Most of these objects are scattered in all directions. That is what you would expect from a chaotic early solar system: random distribution, random orbital angles, random paths. But some of them are not random. Some of them are aligned. A group of Kuiper belt objects keeps lining up in the same unusual direction. Their paths cluster in a way that has no obvious cause, as if something massive, far out in the dark, is slowly pulling their orbits into place. In 2016, astronomers Mike Brown and Konstantin Batygin found out the chance that all of this means absolutely nothing could be as low as 0.007%. About the same odds as thousands of raindrops falling and always hitting the exact same tiny spot. Which means something may really be out there. And after a decade of searching, we still cannot see it. Yet somehow, we can already feel its weight. On Earth, sunlight defines reality. It tells us what time it is. It dictates temperature, seasons, weather, the entire rhythm of biological life. On Planet 9, sunlight barely participates anymore. Neptune, the outermost confirmed planet, orbits about 4.5 billion kilometers from the Sun. Planet 9 would sit somewhere between 60 and 120 billion kilometers away. The sunlight doesn't matter a lot out there, not delivering any warmth, unable to heat a single stone. A human standing there would not feel any sun. They would barely see it. Surface temperatures would hover around -220 degrees Celsius, perhaps colder. Cold enough for gases to freeze solid, and the concept of liquid becomes almost theoretical. Time would begin to feel strange here. One orbit around the Sun could take up to 20,000 Earth years. The last time Planet 9 passed through this part of its orbit, humans had not invented writing yet. Humans spent thousands of years looking at the sky, while we built our first societies, crossed oceans, and discovered the laws of the universe. Planet 9 may have been there all along, far beyond the Kuiper belt, hidden beyond the edge of sunlight, a place so distant that our sunlight barely reaches it anymore. At noon, stars might still be visible in full daylight. The isolation would be total. Not hostile in the way that Mars or Venus is hostile, just distant. A place where our solar system starts already to end. We learned to photograph galaxies billions of light years away, and yet something enormous may still be hiding in the darkness around our own star. Not in another galaxy, not in deep space, here, in our own cosmic neighborhood. What else is out there? Are you comfortable with this question? This may be the strangest part of the entire story. We did not discover Planet 9 by seeing it. We discovered it by watching other worlds behave strangely. No spacecraft went there. No probe measured it. No image confirmed it. Frozen objects, billions of kilometers away, moved in patterns they should not move. We follow gravity through space like footprints left behind in snow. Gravity, the oldest, most universal force in the cosmos, is the only explanation that fit. It revealed the planet before light did. And yet, scientists can roughly imagine what Planet 9 may look like. That is extraordinary. A cold blue giant drifting through near total darkness at the edge of the solar system. If Planet 9 exists, and that remains an if, the most fascinating question is not where it is where it came from. The solar system looks stable today. Every planet has its own orbit, the product of 4.5 billion years of gravitational settling. But early on, it was violent. In the first hundreds of millions of years after the Sun ignited, the solar system was chaotic. Planetesimals, the early building blocks of planets, collided and merged. Planets migrated inward and outward. Jupiter, still forming, still enormous, may have scattered smaller worlds across the solar system with its gravitational force. Objects that formed were hurled into new orbits entirely, or ejected completely. The solar system may have thrown away planets. Not a dramatic explosion, not a collision, just gravity, applied repeatedly over millions of years. Pushing a world slightly further until its orbit became so wide, so slow, so distant that it disappeared from the inner solar system's view. Planet 9 might be one of those. A world that formed in the warm, busy region near the Sun, gradually pushed outward by Jupiter's gravitational field until it drifted to the edge of sunlight itself. Or it might be something stranger. Some models suggest Planet 9 could be a captured rogue planet. A world that formed around another star entirely, was ejected from that system, drifted through interstellar space for millions of years, finally captured by our Sun's gravity as it passed close enough. A planet from another star, silently orbiting ours, for billions of years. We would have no way of knowing. The solar system we thought we understood is suddenly dynamic, chaotic, a story still being written. Planet 9, if it exists, is a fossil of that early formation, a remnant, evidence that the orderly solar system we were taught about was always a simplification. What could we find out if we actually find it? Every image you have seen, the blue-gray giant floating in deep space, the Sun reduced to a bright star behind it, is an artist's interpretation, a calculated guess based on physics and analogy. Planet 9 is probably not a rocky world. The gravitational signature suggests something far larger than Earth, perhaps 5 to 10 times its mass. Not quite Neptune, not quite a gas giant. Something in between. An ice giant. A frozen world, so cold that gases would freeze solid there. And above it all, a tiny distant sun that feels more like a star there. Dim blue light reflecting through a thick atmosphere of methane and ice. Methane absorbs red light and scatters blue. That's why Uranus and Neptune appear in this cold blue. Planet 9 might glow the same color, a bruised, frozen blue-gray. A world that looks like the coldest thing you can imagine, because it is. Beneath the atmosphere, layers of water ice, ammonia ice, Methane ice. No solid ground. Nothing to land on. And yet, possibly, there could be weather. Weak sunlight falling across cloud systems that may have been moving through the cold, driven by internal heat from their formation billions of years ago. Wind systems circling a planet that has never experienced a warm day in its 4.5 billion year existence. But these are just models, because no one ever saw this world, not even through the best telescope. And if so, how do you even search for something like this? This planet, at its predicted distance, would reflect so little sunlight that it would appear as a faint, barely moving point among thousands of other faint, barely moving points. Most stars appear fixed in the sky, but a planet, even one moving extremely slowly, changes position over time. So, astronomers photograph the same part of the sky again and again over months, searching for a tiny point of light that moved slightly while everything else stayed still. You really have to know where to look, and you have to do this across a region of sky that is spanning tens of thousands of square degrees. At this point, the search starts feeling less like astronomy and more like trying to find one specific mosquito somewhere across Australia. Astronomers have been doing this for nearly a decade. They have eliminated large portions of the predicted sky. They have not found it yet. Planet 9 does not appear interested in being discovered. The Vera C. Rubin Observatory in Chile may change everything. Its primary mission is dark energy, dark matter, the large-scale structure of the universe. But in this mission, its telescope will repeatedly photograph the night sky over the next 10 years with extraordinary sensitivity. And if Planet 9 is really out there, in the region scientists expect, Rubin may finally crack the mystery open. We will either find Planet 9, or spend a very long time not finding it. Both answers will matter enormously. Behind all of this, the theories, the simulations, the hidden planet, are real people trying very carefully not to fool themselves. Astronomers generally prefer when planets are visible. This is some of the most careful scientific work in modern astronomy. Scientists are testing their own assumptions, auditing their own methods, stress testing their own hypotheses. That is what science looks like at this level. Even the definition of a planet itself is no longer as stable as people once thought. Mike Brown, one of the astronomers behind the Planet 9 project, also helped redefine Pluto as a dwarf planet in 2006. Now, the same astronomer is searching for a possible new ninth planet. While people are still debating whether Pluto should become a planet again. So, let's take a look at what happens if Planet 9 does not exist. The Kuiper belt clustering is still real. The orbital anomalies are measured. The 0.007% figure stands. If there is no Planet 9 pulling at these objects, then something else is causing the pattern. And that something else might be really interesting. Some researchers think it could be just a consequence of how we observe the Kuiper belt, and not of what is physically there. The pattern might partially reflect our own way of searching the sky, rather than a real gravitational signal. Others have proposed that instead of one large planet, there might be many smaller objects, a ring of unseen mass distributed through the outer solar system, collectively producing the same gravitational effect. And others again have asked a different question entirely. What if our model of gravity itself needs refinement at these scales? A false planet would still be a huge discovery. Because if Planet 9 does not exist and the Kuiper belt clustering is real, then we are missing something fundamental about how the outer solar system works. Either our gravitational models are incomplete, or there are hidden objects we have not identified, or the structure of the Kuiper belt itself is stranger than we assumed. Every possible answer will change the map of our solar system. We named every planet, sent probes to most of them, studied their moons from orbit and from the surface, and the universe simply continues, vast and indifferent and full of objects drifting through deep space, whether humanity notices them or not. Planet 9, if it exists, will be one of the great discoveries of the century, not just because of what it is, a frozen world at the edge of sunlight. It would mean that for the entire history of modern astronomy, a world larger than Earth was hiding in our own neighborhood. And if Planet 9 does not exist, if all this has a different explanation, or no explanation we currently understand, it would mean the outer solar system is far stranger than a missing planet. There is more to explore. Next time. See you beyond the stars.